New build process. I'm going to give you 4 pros and 4 cons of buying and building a new build house here in Wichita, Kansas. So if you're on Facebook or YouTube, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to all this. Check out a lot of our videos and really get a chance to check out everything and learn about how new builds work in Wichita, Kansas. So first one I'm going to get into, the first pro. I got a little list here I'm looking at. First pro is everything's brand new. Obviously, you have way less to worry about with everything being brand new. Everything you know is top of the line, brand new installed. You don't have to worry about stuff breaking down, like fixing things, like it's all right there. And within the first year, you have a builder warranty that covers anything that could potentially happen. Because that is one thing about these houses, is even though everything's brand new, it's never been lived in, never been used before, there may be a potential for something to go wrong, but that's where the new build warranty or the builder warranty covers you for anything that happens, anything that goes on. And the builder's still on the hook to come back and fix those things. Most of these guys have a good local reputation and they want to make sure you're taken care of. So they're not going to pull some shady stuff on you. They're still liable to come back and fix things and help you out on everything. So brand new. If you do run anything, like you got a builder warranty covering it all. Number 2 is you're going to have everything just like you want it, because I know some of you have lived in houses before and you get an idea of what you like, what you don't like. And the thing is, you might be looking for something on the market for a while, but you just can't find it. So you just got to go build it. So you get all those little nuances, all those little quirks and considerations that you want in your house exactly like you like it. And so sometimes when things don't exist like you want them, you just have to go create them. You have to go build them. You have to go make it happen yourself, which honestly is a pretty good personal philosophy for life, but it also exists for building a house. 3 is the fact that it's never been lived in before. Nobody has ever lived in this house. You're the first owner, and depending on how long you live here, you can be the only owner. But that's a really big benefit, is that no one's ever lived in this before, got any of their nasty hairs or dog stuff or anything else, or made it messy or anything. It's brand new, it's yours, it's clean, it smells nice, and everything you know hasn't had someone else in your house. So your own personal little piece of paradise in heaven that you get to call yours and keep it that way. Number 4, the thing about new builds is that appreciation is very likely in these areas, because if you watch any of my content, which I highly encourage you to do, to go watch more of my videos to get a better understanding of how this works, is that new builds set the bar when it comes to appraisals. Pretty much whatever the builder builds a house for and sells it for is what it'll appraise for, because most of those are being sold either cash or on conventional loans, and those are some of the most secure products. Basically, appraisers kind of look at the new build prices as setting the bar for the rest of the market to base everything off of. And from there, that's where the appreciation is very likely, because let's say you build a house for $250, wait a year, but then now the same model is selling in that price in that neighborhood for like $285, $290. You just gained that amount of equity from there continuing to be houses built and sold for more over time, because everything as appraisals and appreciation goes based on past sales, and builders continue to build more and higher. So the more builders continue to build in that area, the more the prices go up and appreciate, which also makes your house go up and appreciate. So that's why I say, even though you got things like special taxes and other considerations, the appreciation of your house is very likely, because that's where people are still building, still putting in development for your neighborhood to appreciate appropriately. So that's all the good stuff. Well, not all the good stuff. 4 good things, 4 pros. There's others, but I'm just doing 4 today. 4 cons. Let's address, the things that aren't as good about new builds. And the first one I say is special taxes. People really don't like having to pay special taxes because it's an additional cost. And I know a lot of people are kind of turned off by the fact you got special taxes, but at the end of the day, it's cheaper than if you had to finance it into your loan and pay all those costs up front yourself, because these special taxes are assessed on different rates for years, anywhere from like 7 years to 15 years to 25 to 30 years, depending on how they pay out. For an example, like if a new build has $30,000 in specials and it pays out at about $1,800 a year, that just gets added into your special tax. You want to sell in 5 to 7 years and move, you're not owing the rest of that amount that's due on there. You're just paying the yearly amount, and the next owner will pay the specials. And the thing is, specials are subsidized at a tax rate that is way lower than what your interest rate would be, anywhere from 1% to 2%. And so it's actually lower. And so that way, all the roads can get into the neighborhoods. And that's where all these special taxes go to, is all these special improvements that have gone on in the neighborhood for the development to start. Like the roads, like the sewers, like the street lights, like the pool house, like the park, like all the amenities go with it, get financed into the development as a special tax. The developer pays all of those specials up front, carries the cost of that until the new owner comes along and buys a house, and then it's their responsibility to pay their special taxes on their lot for that development. So that's kind of how special taxes work. But that is one thing to take into account, is I know people want a brand new house, but they don't want to pay specials. So it's kind of like, well, you got to pay for it if you want it. Number two is that, if you are living in a new build area, you're going to have, well, this is kind of 2 in 1. It's a temporary convenience to build a house, because there's 6 to 8 month process. So if you start from brand new, you're going to have to figure out where to live, what to do for 6 to 8 months, whether you rent short term, carry 2 notes on your existing house and the new house for 6 to 8 months, or you're just going to have to wait 6 to 8 months for this thing to get built. That's a temporary convenience. The other piece of it is that, let's say you're one of the first people into that development, you're going to be living in a little bit of a construction zone, because as you think about all these other houses getting built, all the other trucks, contractors, developers, all the construction equipment, material, and things going on in that neighborhood, your neighborhood is going to be a little bit of a construction zone as this development is getting developed with everything. So that's one thing to take into account, that people sometimes don't think about when it comes to new construction, is you're going to have a little bit of a temporary inconvenience in a construction zone going on over there. Number 3, I would say, is that you're going to have restrictions on these new developments, like HOAs, restrictive covenants. You're going to have to use certain builders in certain developments. Like HOAs are kind of a good thing and a bad thing. They keep your neighbors from going crazy, painting their house crazy colors, putting a bunch of trashy things in the yard. But at the same time, like, you have to get approval for a lot of things you want to do, like painting your house, installing a fence, putting in a garage or shop or anything like that consideration. So it's kind of a good and bad thing depending on how you look at it. But also with HOAs, there's a separate, sorry about that. There's a separate document called restrictive covenants, saying what you can and can't do for that development that the developer sets up that supersedes and is beyond the HOA. For example, like a minimum square feet of your floor plan that you can build over there. Like one we're dealing with in Edgewater right now, you have to have 1,600 square feet on the first floor on the water lots over there. That's a restrictive covenant, not enforced by the HOA, enforced by the covenant that are set up for that development that the developer set in place ahead of time, because there's a certain price point and certain type of house that they want put into that development. And that way it's only allowed like those certain pieces, characteristics like that, that have to be obeyed within those covenants of the area. So there's kind of a restriction there on what's allowed and minimums there. And also builders. So certain developments only allow certain builders. And so let's say you really like a certain development and you want to live there, you have to choose from one of the builders that is selected as an approved builder for that development. Because the reason they do that is that the developer wants to make sure there's quality going in there. There's a good product goes in there for the sake of the entire development, for the sake of his development, the builder's reputation, everybody that lives in that neighborhood. It's really a good process to keep all those things in mind while they're doing it. But there are some restrictions of what's allowed and what you can do with these new build development areas. Number 4 kind of goes along a little bit with that number 3, is that with that number 4 is that a lot of the models that you have available to sell, some people may call those cookie cutter. There's certain developments, depending on where and what you're building, only certain type of builders and models are allowed, and some of those can be considered cookie cutter. So if you're looking for super unique, sometimes that doesn't always come in with new builds for the price point you want it to on everything. And so sometimes these lots can be right on top of each other, really close next to each other. A lot of the similar models in the same neighborhood, a lot of what people consider like cookie cutter preset models. So if that's something that is important to you, new construction may not be the right piece of it, and there's only certain models that are allowed. So that's 4 pros, 4 cons of new construction. That's obviously not everything that goes on with it, but hopefully it's helped you at least consider new builds in the new construction environment a little more. If you like this content, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share it, depending on the platform you're on. Check out a lot of the other content I have on new builds and everything else. If you have any more specific, direct questions, you can always message me and get a hold of me, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. See ya.